Hi everyone, my name is Lorenzo. I'm the product manager for data and AI at LoadSmart, and today I'm going to show you ShipperGuide's analytics and AI features. So let's start with the analytics portal. Once you click there, a new tab opens, and you're in a place all things reporting, analytics, data, and associated features. You're going to land on this page where you're going to explore a few of our out-of-the-box free reports. These come free with ShipperGuide. These are brief explanations on what they do, so you're not just looking at a raw report. You get some context. We also show some of our premium reports, which are reports that are paid, and we built them alongside shippers that had very custom requests. We'd like to make these available at least for browsing purposes for other shippers to see in case they find it interesting and also want those reports enabled for them. Let me start with the free suite. So these are everything under this umbrella, ShipperGuide Standard. You're going to get out of the box once data starts populating your ShipperGuide account. These range from very simple spend and volume metrics, like freight spend per month, per week, across carriers and lanes, cost efficiency metrics like freight spend per mile, per pound, per handling unit, things like that, commodity item, purchasing performance. And then we start getting into a little more heavy analytics like carrier scorecarding. So almost all TMSs are going to have some version of carrier service metric reporting like OTP and OTB and spot and contract tender rejections. We like to go a little bit further, and we like to provide a lot of different financial metrics, different angles to assess carrier performance, like where they're bidding against the market, how much their invoice is varying versus what they're initially quoting, how much they're bidding against the booked rate, so bids against the actual rate you selected, as well as a lot of different compliance metrics, which basically measure how much your carrier is engaging with the platform, engaging with your shipments, performing the milestones that they need to do, like filling out check-in and check-out timestamps, as well as like how long they're taking to do those things, like various lead time metrics. So for example, after tendering, how much time they take to schedule in an appointment, how much time they take to actually accept a tender, what is their bid participation and bid response rate, things like that. And so this report allows you to really go to your carrier with a lot of data to justify their performance. Again, like you can export data here either in Excel or CSV. Not only on this report, but all reports have this exportable feature. As you may have noticed, this is a Power BI solution embedded, and so it comes with all the Power BI features, like different charts, heat maps, and ability to drill down, drill up, things like that. One thing I like to point out is we do have flexibility. We allow flexibility on how you define on-time pickup and on-time delivery. So if you consider arriving or picking up within the same day or 24 hours, you click on this and all the metrics adjust accordingly. If you consider arriving 30 minutes within the window, then or 30 minutes outside the window, then the metrics adjust accordingly. As you can notice, once you go down, you start being more flexible, and you can see the metrics changing real time. And I like to also show the Shipment Builder. I'm not going to go through everything, but last but not least, the Shipment Builder is a type of report where you can select custom columns, and there you go. And you can build reports that way. You can export this view exactly, and you have a customizable way of exporting reports. Now, each line is a shipment here. We also have different builders with different granularities that go from, let's say, handling units to see like specifically the things inside a shipment, and also charges if you want to get deep down on like the different line items on charges on your shipment. We have a few others like shipment lifecycle, where you can see everything that happened to a shipment, users that edited the shipment, when things happen, who changed the shipment, so on and so forth. I'm not going to get too deep into that though. Now, going into premium reports, I want to show you at least two reports. The first one I want to show you is the cost leakage report. This is an example of a great report we built alongside one of our customers. It basically measures cost of tender rejections in the market in your routing guide, right? So when a carrier rejects a tender, you usually have to recover it, and a lot of the times you're going to recover at a higher cost because of shorter lead time, right? And so this report can tell you on a carrier level and at lane level as well how much carriers and lanes are costing you from out-of-pocket expenses because you have to literally and you have to swallow a higher cost because of that rejection, right? And that's the recovery cost. When it's positive, it means you're paying above what you were going to pay versus your planned rate. One thing I like to show is like customization, right? So customers come to us with very specific needs and very specific metrics, right? So this customer said to us, I only want to see cost, or at least I want to isolate the effect of recovery costs when recovery cost is associated with surge tenders. So when you tender too much, you tender above your contractual limit. Sometimes you don't want to hold your carrier responsible for rejecting those above contractual limit tenders. And so we created this new metric that only captures surge tender costs. So for example, if your carrier is costing you $1,000, but $750 come from surge, that means not much dollar amount is coming from the tenders from contractual obligations, right? So it's not as bad as you would think, right? That's just one example of a nuance or a very custom built metric. Similarly, we can build like surge tender rejection rates, things like that. Again, this is just an example. We also have reports that go really granular into some of the data in ShipperGuide, like quotes and bids. So you can analyze a specific bids on a shipment, right? So if you want to go beyond the general aggregations of analytical carrier scorecard metrics, and you want to dive deep into some of that data, you can do so here, where we these are giant reports. In case you're a big shipper, you're going to get a lot of bids per shipment, and we offer that raw data, again, exportable here as a premium report. Last but not least, you can schedule reports. So if you want to receive reports via email on some cadence, for example, Mondays and Fridays, I want to receive a specific strategic report at a desired time, at a time zone. You can schedule that report, and you're going to get that report on that cadence that you set. This is a premium feature. It's charged on a per report basis. That's most of it on the analytics portal. I'm going to cut the video right now so it doesn't become too long, and I'm going to present shortly the AI features inside ShipperGuide. Hi, I'm back to show you ShipperGuide's main AI feature, FreightIntel AI. FreightIntel AI is like having a managed transportation analyst at your fingertips. It surfaces insights of your operation looking at your data and running powerful algorithms such as statistical pattern searching or transportation optimization algorithms to surface cost savings opportunities as well as service improvements. So think of reporting as descriptive analytics. This is going a step way beyond that, and it's trying to diagnose and prescribe solutions to problems or opportunities identified in your data set. The date ranges here pertain to the underlying data that it's looking at from the ShipperGuide application. So I'm looking at data from January 2024 to August 2025, but I can shorten that window or make it longer as I like. Observations is the list of kind of insights that this specific report is showing you. Now, we have a range of insights that are not limited to these 7 options, but on this report, on the underlying data is showing insights regarding these transportation topics. So I like to think of these, I like to split it in two. So some of these insights like accessorial, on-time pickup, on-time delivery, and purchasing performance, they really try to look at these metrics. So these are specific metrics and try to identify patterns. So where is your accessorials being concentrated? Which lanes, which origins, which destinations, and which carriers, right? And when it finds something that stands out, it shows you. It's going to pop up here. So basically, this lane is where 74% of my accessorial cost is concentrated. I can export that data to double check that as well. It's going to show me all the shipments on that specific lane. Similarly, I can see where I'm paying above market, and whether it's lanes or carriers, it's going to summarize basically, step further beyond reporting. It's going to really, digest that raw data into something that is consumable and present a recommendation as well. So most of these insights have action items and next steps recommended. As you can see, these are basically metric concentration. The other class of insights that I like to show, these are very, very hard to replicate in analysis, or more transportation optimization related. So for example, shipment consolidation is basically looking at all your historical data on shipment moves and seeing where you could have potentially consolidated to fill up the space in a truck more efficiently, or even created multi-stop routes so that you can basically group handling units together and orders together to basically save a lot of money, right? These are obviously more complex, and they're governed by specific parameters that you can control in here in parameters, right? So there are basically the main parameters that you might be interested in, like how we're grouping date windows when we're grouping orders and shipments, maximum weight, maximum volume, things like that, maximum number of stops, extra stop-off charges. These are all things that you can configure. And if you change something here and save, it's going to rerun the report with that parameter, right? So it's a playground for you to test different strategies and see where you might have large cost savings opportunities, right? In this case, it's estimating a $46,000 savings had I consolidated and formed a few multi-stop routes. Similarly, we have advanced insights like mode optimization. Mode optimization tries to look at a mode and see if I can save money by changing the mode, right? So on this one, I had truckloads that could have been converted to intermodal, and this is how much money I would have saved, right? Similarly, I can have truckload to LTL recommendations if I'm not filling space in a truck very efficiently, and I could have moved loads through LTL. For most of these insights, we use industry and market benchmarks to basically compare prices and things like that, right? That's a very short view of FreightIntel AI. It doesn't cover all the insights, but think of it as an automated, transportation analyst. Last but not least, there is an embedded CoPilot experience here where you can ask certain things about that. So I don't know, what is my highest average rate per mile carrier? Very simple question. It does things that are way more complex than this, but I just want to give you an example. And this is literally transforming this English text into a SQL query, which is being run on our database to fetch a specific data slice or view. So this data is actually not being sent to OpenAI. No raw data is being sent, and basically all your privacy is really maintained. And there you go. You can actually validate the query as well. Trust me, you can do a lot more complex questions than this. And yeah, that's FreightIntel AI. Hope you guys liked it.